At the end of the first episode of The Mandalorian on Disney Plus, we got a glimpse of what might be the biggest MacGuffin in the history of Star Wars. And we have a theory on how it could lead to the return of the Emperor in The Rise of Skywalker. So, if you're not caught up on the hottest space western in town, here is your spoiler warning.
The tracking fob is still active. My sensors indicate that there is a life form present.
So the huge bombshell at the end of The Mandalorian is actually a tiny, adorable baby Yoda. We saw that Werner Herzog's character, who's credited as the Client, is surrounded by stormtroopers. He obviously represents some kind of remnant of the fallen Empire. Also, he sent Mando after the 50-year-old bundle of joy and wasn't entirely picky about getting baby Yoda back dead or alive. His colleague, Dr. Pershing, however, was adamant the baby be recovered alive. So what does a leftover Empire stooge want with a baby Yoda? Our theory is they're working on resurrecting Emperor Palpatine. Exhibit A. We obviously know that Palpatine is coming back. We also obviously know cloning is very much a thing in Star Wars. But what about cloning somebody as powerful with the Force as Emperor Palpatine? There are bound to be complications, and they might just get a regular human Sheev Palpatine and not an all-powerful Emperor. In the current movie canon, we know that Yoda and presumably his entire species are chock full of midichlorians, those wonderful little things that indicate Force sensitivity. So you can imagine it'd be super handy for the Empire to have a boundless midichlorian factory and a little baby Yoda as part of their quest to clone the Emperor so that he's just as powerful as he was before he fell down that shaft and exploded with the second Death Star. Eagle-eyed viewers have also spotted a patch on Dr. Pershing's sleeve that looks like the same symbol for the Kaminoans who cloned all those Jango Fett's. If it is the same symbol, then we can pretty safely guess what kind of doctor he is, a doctor who specializes in cloning. Exhibit B. In the Legends comic Star Wars Dark Empire, Emperor Palpatine returned to life thanks to cloning technology. That story may no longer be canon, but Lucasfilm has been known to cherry-pick cool ideas from Legends continuity and put a new spin on them, like when they brought back Thrawn as a villain for Star Wars Rebels. Who's to say they aren't doing the cloning thing with Palpatine again, but this time they're using it to create a connection between The Mandalorian and The Rise of Skywalker. Speaking of that, Exhibit C. The timing is just too perfect, in universe and in real life. The Mandalorian takes place 5 years after the Emperor died, and now the Client and Dr. Pershing are closing in on their prize. This gives them another 30-some-odd years to perfect the cloning technique and get a viable Emperor back in charge before the events of The Rise of Skywalker. Out here in the real world, there are 8 episodes of The Mandalorian, and Episode 7 comes out the day before The Rise of Skywalker, and Episode 8 comes out the week after. This is a similar arrangement to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Captain America the Winter Soldier back in 2014. They had 16 episodes of their first season that aired before The Winter Soldier came out, and then 6 that came out afterwards. The Mandalorian has an opportunity to set up the cloning of Palpatine through its first 7 episodes, then, after everybody goes to see The Rise of Skywalker opening night, Episode 8 of Mando's show can be spent exploring the fallout of that game-changing twist, and then set up the show on whatever new path it wants to go on for Season 2. We know Disney has no compunction about making its Disney Plus shows required viewing because Marvel is doing that with all of their shows. So, to us anyway, all that adds up to The Mandalorian leading straight into the events of The Rise of Skywalker. So, what do you think of our theory? Let us know in the comments. And for more on The Mandalorian, check out our review of the first episode and whether or not Boba Fett actually shows up. And be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you like to watch IGN.